Hey guys, what's going on? It's Stephen Ward here. Welcome back to Real Talk, Real Conversations, Real Solutions. And today I have a real common topic that I want to talk to you about. It's called fear. We've all heard about it. We've all experienced fear. We've all heard different acronyms for it. One of the most famous ones out there is fear, false evidence appearing real. But what I want to do for this segment real quick is I want to talk to you about a little concept about fear that I believe in, a little philosophy, and hopefully that can help you achieve your goals, or hopefully it can help you understand a fear a little bit more, or look at it from a different angle. And so that way you will be more successful in what it is that you're trying to do. I like to look at fear as being a plus one. And what do you mean by that? Okay, so let's say you had a house and you invited some invitees over for dinner, and one of them decided to show up with a plus one. Now, you don't want to necessarily turn that individual away. You want to be courteous. You want to have that hospitality, but you also didn't necessarily set up or have, I don't want to say you don't have enough accommodations for that individual, but that person necessarily doesn't get all of your attention. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why did this person bring this individual over when it was only for a selected few? Well, that always happens when we try to do something. When we think about something, when we have a dream about something, when we envision something, we always think about the successful version of that. But also, what accommodates that successful version is also a plus one, and that's always fear. Now, you don't necessarily have to pull up a chair and give it your all, or give it your you don't necessarily have to give it so much attention as you would do the positive of scenarios of if what you're doing came out on the better side that worked for you, the better version of it, the successful version of it, the version of it where you're actually succeeding and you're completing what you're supposed to be completing. But I want you to know that it always accommodates success. Fear is always going to accommodate success. And you're probably asking, why is that? Well, let me bring this up. Have you ever heard about a shadow in the dark? You've never heard about a shadow in the dark, and I guaranteed if you think you saw a shadow in the dark, it was probably because there was some type of light source that may not necessarily have been present to you, but that doesn't make sense, because if it wasn't present to you, then how did you get a chance to see the shadow? I might be going a little beyond, but let me get back to it. You probably never really thought about a shadow in the dark, because a shadow needs the sun or a light source to happen in order for it to exist. I'm tripping up on my words. Let me run that back. A shadow exists only if there is a sun or a light source that is present. But the sun or light source can exist totally independent without the presence of a shadow. You understand that? So just getting back to fear and success, fear only exists because at one point in time you've thought about a successful version of it. And that's why fear accommodates that success. That's why it's that plus one. Sometimes you may read about in different sources or over the internet that fear is a good thing, and that's totally up to you how you want to interpret fear within your life and how you use it. Fear, I know is usually the opposite of what you're thinking about, the successful version of what you're thinking about. So if you're thinking about parachuting, let's just say, for example, I want to go out and I want to use a parachute, and then the fear come up, well, what if this doesn't open up and I die? You know, that's the exact opposite of you being successful. You're jumping out of the plane and you're landing successful and you're enjoying that experience. So sometimes it can be natural, depending on the data that you may have received when you was growing up, depending on the data you may have seen on social media or just across your research, what you may have seen that opens up the possibility of the opposite actually happening towards that successful story or vision that you're talking about. But what I want you to really grasp and take home is that fear is always going to be there. I don't want fear to slow you down in your relationship. I don't want it to slow you down in your progress and what it is that you want to do. I don't want it to stop you from trying new things because fear is always going to be there. It's always going to be a +1. And I want you to carry this and remember this. Fear only exists because success exists. A shadow only exists because the sun or the light source is present. Whether you see the sun or the light source is a totally different story, but it has to exist in order for fear to exist. So if fear is always a +1 to success, how will you be able to incorporate that inside your life? How will you be able to incorporate that inside your programming to where that fear doesn't take over and stop you or slow you down or stunt or saturate your mind with all of the negative possibilities of this not happening? Fear is always going to be a +1. Whether you invite it or whether you don't. When you think about success, when you think about the best version of what you want to do, when you create a plan and you're thinking about it in your mind, in your imagination, when it comes time to actually starting and putting and implementing some of those action plans, fear is going to accommodate the successful version. I hope that this helped you out. If it did, please subscribe to this channel and also comment. I want to hear your things. Do you agree that fear is a +1 to success? And that fear needs success in order to exist? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you found value in this, please share this with someone else who may be going through a situation where they want to start something great within their lives, where they have all the talent in the world, where they have all of the potential and you recognize it. But they're stunting, they're slowing, they're chopping off their growth. They're chopping off their chances and their odds of succeeding because of fear. I would love to hear your comments. Till next time, I'm Stephen Ward, the Overthinker. This is Real Talk, Real Conversations, Real Problems, Real Solutions. I'll talk to you.